Ah, you listening? Loser, loser, loser. Oh, check the little Graves main. Do you think you're too good to play Skarner? Are you playing meta champs you hate and still losing? Fuck that. It's time to start countering the meta. Look at this, Chad. Tell me you don't want to play him already. I was a virgin too before I played Skarner. Now my win rate is as big as my arms and everyone loves me. So listen in, because I'm going to show you how to dominate with League's most underappreciated champion. I have one-tricked Skarner for a week and done all the hard work for you. All you have to do is shut up and listen. It's going to be fun, you're going to learn a lot. I'm Cobb and I'm going to show you how to win games with Skarner.
Activating chain blades. Specialization. Target apprehension. Abduction protocol in effect. Isolate high potential subjects. Accelerating. You have taught us many methods through which you can die.
So in case you're not sold on Skarner by now somehow, I'm going to explain to you why you should be spamming the hell out of this guy every game. Skarner is very strong right now, he's in a brilliant place. In fact, I'd probably put him at A+ tier on a jungler tier list. Why you ask? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it is very, very easy to carry a game with Skarner. And if you're not carrying for some reason, it's very easy to be useful anyway. A lot of junglers have struggled after the item V-Bucks in Season 11, but it has just made Skarner and pushed him over the edge. Tank items are very good at the minute. I wouldn't say they're broken like people on Reddit are claiming. They may be tuned down a little bit, but even if they are nerfed substantially, it's the utility of these items that makes Skarner good. Another reason to play him is he heavily counters the current meta in the way that Riot are trying to take this game. Riot are putting over these champions at the minute that have 1v5 potential. They can solo win a team fight. Champions like Samira, Katarina, Yone. You know, these toxic kits can 1v5 a team fight. But what is their counter? Turns out, it's one of the least played champions in the game. That's right, Skarner hard counters all of these bullshit champions that people despise. Or Katarina jumps into your backline, or well, there's a Skarner sitting right next to her and he's going to fucking ult her and then your team are going to one-shot her. When Skarner's there, it doesn't matter because you've got 3 seconds of point and click hard CC. These champions are super squishy, they need to keep attacking so that they don't die because they deal a lot of damage and they heal a lot, like your Samira, like your Katarina, like your Yone. And on the back of that as well, he's very, very good into one champion being fed on the enemy team. If you're in a situation, how many times have you seen this? Top lane hard ints, bot lane is winning, mid is neutral, but you're fighting some 5-0 Darius or some crap. Skarner is fantastic in this situation because all you need to do is keep that guy CC'd, get him ulted, and he's a no factor in a team fight. So thirdly guys, Skarner is a very, very good champ pool investment. Why is that, you ask? Well, like I've just told you, he is very strong at the minute, but what I mean by an investment is he's going to pay off if you learn him now. Yes, he is strong at the minute, and if he stays where he is right now, I think it's a matter of time before pro players look into him and start picking him on the competitive scene. But what I mean is, nobody plays Skarner, right? His play rate is terrible. We all know this, and typically Riot Games don't like to nerf the crap out of underplayed champions because nobody's complaining about Skarner. Nobody has discovered how broken he is at the minute, and I do think he is ridiculously strong and he is probably deserving of a nerf. He may take a wee edge off his power, but his utility is the reason he's good, so it won't matter. It's not like an OP champ like Cat where their damage is stupid. Skarner's utility keeps him in the game. That is why I believe that no matter what Riot do to him, he will still be relevant. So he's good now, he's going to remain to be good in future because Riot don't want to touch him. Seems like a brilliant champ pool investment. Do I need to sell you on him any more than that, folks? Surely not, but if I do or if I don't, regardless if you need it or no, I've got more to tell you about him, believe it or not. There's more positives to this man. But if you have been listening and you are convinced, get yourself to the description, there's some timestamps in there below. The last wee topic we're going to cover, guys, to get your whistle wet, to get your blood pumping at the idea of playing Skarner, is that he will carry you games. If you're low elo, if you're silver, bronze, gold, even plat, you know, that's pretty low elo too, I'll be honest. At these elos, it is very, very easy to carry games on Skarner. He has a game plan, it's super easy to execute, you can do it every game. Nobody knows how to deal with him because nobody plays him. Half the folk at these elos will have never seen a Skarner in their life. I bet they don't even know what half his moves do. So why is he good at carrying games? People don't know how to position. If you get a good ult and drag somebody with phase rush into the middle of your team, you can kill any carry you want. I truly believe his kit is that powerful. If you have flash up, you can pretty much choose to kill anybody on the other team, unless they particularly have a 5-man team comp devised around shutting you down, and you pretty much have free reign over the game. Skarner's power spike is pretty early in the game, so you can start to take over before the other jungler has a chance to do so. His clear is wicked fast, so you can hit at level 6 El Rapido, and you can clear and make more time for objectives and ganking. With phase rush and aspire up, he's pretty much impossible to invade. You just run away, spam ping, and somebody will come to help you. And he's tanky, so even assassin junglers can't stop him, and he hard counters assassin junglers, by the way. He's also not that team reliant because he can solo take objectives, so when you're spam pinging your bot lane, help, and they've got prio but they're not coming to help DPS Drake, you can do it on your own. He scales very well into the late game as well, so you don't have the problem you have with champions like Nunu fall off late game, you win early game, you can't carry the late game. He does decent damage late game, he's a threat, and he's just hugely relevant on a team by the time you get to level 13. But generally say he's a pretty good first pick on a team as well. Like I say, he doesn't have any bad jungle matchups particularly, he outscales a lot of people, and he has a spot on every single team and against every single team. I have never once picked Skarner and thought, holy shit, I am useless here, there's nothing I can do. I've always got a game plan, I've always got some spot that will help me win the game. Does not mean you will win every game, but it will not fall upon your head. After one-tricking Skarner for a week of the pre-season, I have come to realise he has almost no bad matchups. He is always good in every single game. I always pull my weight on a team. I used to be worried about blind picking him and pulling him into certain matchups, but frankly, I have never found a matchup where I have struggled. And a lot of his counter picks that we'll go into later on are not meta at the minute, they're highly underplayed, so it's a fantastic time to play him and abuse him.
Who am I? None of your business.
Guys, that'll do it for why you should play Skarner, but who the hell am I? Truthfully, I am a nobody. And you're thinking, why should I listen to this nobody? I'll tell you why. Because there's almost nobody in this community that plays Skarner. All the top level Skarner players that are like masters and above, they don't really communicate any of their information, they don't make guides, they don't do videos, and there isn't really anybody that's dedicated to Skarner at the top level. At jungle at least, there is Merthos, the top laner, who I highly recommend watching if you want to play him top. But who am I? Well, I'll tell you who I am. And I'll give you a quick wee rundown of my backstory. When I started playing League of Legends, it was thanks to Total Biscuit, and Wukong was the most recently released champion. So that was back in 2011. I've had about 9 years of playing the game on and off. I played top lane, I played jungle thanks to Trick 2G, and I never really tryharded, I was just playing for fun, didn't really learn the game that much, peaked at Plat 1 without particularly trying honestly. But that was a long time ago. After I left high school I got a lot more busy, got a job in that, went to go do training, and then I kind of stopped playing after Season 6, never really came back into it. Played a tiny wee bit in Season 9 but not a lot. Season 10 folks, whoa. Season 10 is when I finally got into this game, I learned how to play it, and I joined a ranked 5s team which really pushed me to be the best. I have had a lot of free time indoors this year thanks to and I have frankly been no-lifing the fuck out of League of Legends. I hit 1,200 games in Season 10 with a 52% win rate. Peaked Plat 1 again this season after trying, but I have learned that much this season. I do expect to break high-low this season. Just a wee humble brag. But to continue that humble brag, last season I hit 117 games played on Skarner, my win rate is 63%, and my KDA is class. So I don't think you can actually argue that my Skarner isn't a successful pick, and it can be a successful pick for you too folks. Also currently sitting at top 250 Skarners EU West and top 950 world. It's pretty good when you consider the fact that I'm only plat, A lot of the people higher than me are all diamond and challengers because the rating system favours higher elo players, as it should. I love to challenge myself by comparing myself to the other Skarners around me, and seeing that wee number go up gets me a lot of dopamine. And my goal for this season basically is to break high diamond, maybe get into masters and that, see where I can take Skarner. I want to kind of prove to the world that I am very good on Skarner, I am a very good jungler, and I want to show people how good he is, because nobody respects him. And apart from all that shitty Seraphine drama you've seen on Twitter, nobody has referenced him for years. So if you've got past the intro in the video and you're looking to play Skarner and dominate the Rift and climb and all that crap, then strap yourselves in, because it's going to be a journey and it's going to be emotional. Thanks for watching so far, guys. We're going to kick it up a gear and we're going to start hitting you with some hard information. Ladies and gentlemen, if there was a boring part to this video, this would be it. I'm now going to do a rundown on Skarner's abilities. But to try and freshen it up here, I'm going to take it a wee bit old school. So without further ado, welcome to the Champions Spotlight, featuring
Skarner, the Crystal Vanguard.
Now that was epic. Skarner's passive is Crystal Spires. Spires spawn in a fixed place around the map. Capturing one will grant you 15 gold and vision upon its area for a second and a half when you capture it. While under a spire, Skarner gains a super steroid called Crystal Charge. It gives him massive move and attack speed and mana regen. Skarner also gains Crystal Charge upon proccing his E or using his ultimate. Skarner's passive gets a lot of shit in the community because Riot put it on him just as a kind of band-aid fix to his kit, but it's honestly a pretty broken mechanic. It makes his clear speed very fast and he's amazing at taking objectives. If you get some of these set up aggressively as well, you end up with a chokehold on the enemy team and there's very little they can do to stop you. Skarner's Q is Crystal Slash. It is very spammable and on a tiny cooldown, and its cooldown is reduced by auto attacks. You'll probably hear me in teamfights like, this is Skarner's main source of damage. It makes him particularly good at clearing objectives and taking out tanks and other frontliners. When maxed, it does 3% max health and it has a 20% AD scaling. After the first Q, the second Q will deal an additional 3% max health as well as some extra magic damage. Because Skarner's CDs are so low, he's very favoured in extended fights, and this is another reason why he's good at shredding tanks. Skarner's Q also applies Ravenous Hydra. The Omni Vamp from the item as well makes it potentially interesting on him, but currently I've had minimal exposure to it and I think it's a situational build, honestly. But it's a lot of fun, and in certain games it can carry hard, so if you fancy inting some LP or maybe trying something out yourself, give it a go. Skarner's W is Crystalline Exoskeleton. Not much to say here. It's a max health scaling shield that gives ramping move speed while active. It's not flashy, it kinda just sits in the background. You'll cast it when it's up and you're about to engage a fight. The move speed scales over time, so you want to activate it sooner rather than later. And if your shield is destroyed, then you're going to lose the move speed boost a lot quicker. Skarner's E is Fracture. For some reason it's not Crystalline Fracture or Crystal Fracture, it's just Fracture this time. Skarner shoots a slow moving projectile that can hit multiple enemies and it slows for 30 to 50% for 2.5 seconds. It applies a mark of Crystal Venom to all enemies hit. Skarner's auto attacks proc Crystal Venom which stuns the enemy for 1.25 seconds. The slow is very strong, the stun is very strong, and in a teamfight where there's multiple frontliners it's very easy to hit multiple people. This is a very high impact ability. In your fights you should be focusing on hitting this 100% because your value of hitting 3 people with this in a teamfight is absolutely huge. Also remember Crystal Charge. Yeah, but when Skarner consumes a stack of Crystal Venom, he gains that for a couple of seconds. It makes it very easy to proc multiple stacks of Crystal Venom in a row. Now we're going to show you Skarner's ultimate. Skarner's ultimate is Impale, and it is a truly broken ability, I believe that. Upon casting, Skarner suppresses an enemy champion for 1.75 seconds and he can drag them wherever he pleases. While casting, you can't cast your E or auto attack, but that doesn't matter folks, because with Phase Rush you can drag somebody right into the middle of your team and they'll do the damage for you. This is a truly broken ability early game folks. You can pretty much select anyone for death that you want as long as they're not a tank. It's point and click so you can't dodge it, and you can buffer it with a flash so that you can instantly cast it upon arrival. For those of you that don't know what a buffer is, basically you cast the ultimate when you're out of range and then you flash in and the champion will immediately cast ult when they're in range. This is Skarner's most impactful ability, and the way I play Skarner revolves entirely around it. I run Ultimate Hunter and I build full tank engage. With very minimal ability haste investment, with Ultimate Hunter you can scale very hard, and this ends up being on about a 40 seconds cooldown late game. You get a couple of kills going on Skarner, there's no way they're coming back from it, because this is how it goes folks. If you have ultimate, somebody's dying. Or if you choose to be generous, someone on your team will be living where they should have been dying, because you've got this incredible peel ability. The versatility on it is through the roof, the value on it is through the roof. It hard counters all those OP champs we were talking about earlier on, it hard counters assassins, it hard counters people that need to engage, and it hard punishes anybody who is slightly out of position, even slightly. As I said earlier on as well, if you've got flash ult up, it pretty much feels like a one shot, one kill on anyone you want. It feels like it has no counterplay, because it pretty much has no counterplay the way I play it. It can't be cleansed. The only thing that can remove it is Quicksilver Sash, which costs 1,300 gold and is on, I think it's about an 80-second cooldown, when late game your ult's going to be on a lower cooldown than that. So let me tell you, right, their AD carry has just dropped 1,300 gold on a fucking bandana that's on a 90-second-ish cooldown, your ult's on a cooldown half that, and they've just delayed their power spike way off into the distance folks. If they've respected you that much to buy a fucking silver bandana, give them a thumbs up and ult another carry on their team. It's one of them where they almost have to buy it to stop you solo carrying the game, and if they do buy it, you're happy as well. It honestly feels like a broken ability to me guys. Broken by concept, to quote someone. And with the new items and move speed that Skarner can get so easily, it feels like there's nothing that anyone can do to stop you from engaging with this bad boy. So get it used and get it abused folks. That's the rundown of Skarner's abilities. Now we'll go into something even more important. So guys, what we're going to talk about here is Skarner's early game champion identity. What are his objectives in the early game and how can you achieve them? Skarner's early game in the jungle revolves around hitting level 6 because as we know, Impale is broken as fuck. So how do we go about doing this? Well, Skarner has a crazy fast clear because of his Q that he can spam to hell. Because his jungle clear is so fast, I would say in about 90% of games I shoot for a full clear at the start. Most of the time you can get a full clear in and be ready to fight for first crab at about 320. If you are in lower elos, this is a massive advantage. Being able to clear camps quickly and hit level 4 in time to contest a scuttle crab gives you huge control over the game. Jungle pathing is a very difficult topic guys, with many variables. Certain paths that are good generically might not work in every game. So what I'm going to aim to show you here guys is what generically you should be looking to do in the early game and why. And I'm going to show you a couple of variants on a very successful generic jungle path that you can do in 95% of your games for a decent bit of success. Right guys, what I'm going to show you here is my first generic jungle path, right, one that I use almost every game. Now, let's say we're starting blue side theoretically, so the path goes red into Krugs, swinging back round here to chickens, bang we do them, we come round here, we skip our wolves, we don't fuck with them, we go to blue buff, we take that, we take Gromp, and then we're ready here about 320, right, we're ready to take Crab. We'll be there around the same time as the enemy jungler if they've been following your map. Or, if you see a particularly good gank, maybe they're past this line, right? Then you go for the gank, right? If you think the gank can be pulled off, then I wouldn't even bother with the crab, I'd go for the gank first. Because lane state changes, guys. Crab doesn't. The only thing that will change about the crab is if the enemy jungler comes for it while you get a gank. In which case, if you think this is 100% a kill, or maybe this is 100% a kill, then you've been massively rewarded in your fight to trade a crab for a lane kill, right, early game, definitely. But say for example, you go, Cobb, wait, I've just done my crab at 320-ish, and both lanes are not in a gankable state. Do I just do the gank? No! What you can do here is check your Krugs. Your Krugs are likely coming up within the next 30 seconds. Get what we call a tempo reset. You back to base. You've got maybe about 1,000 gold in your back pocket. Your 1,000 gold is going to be enough to get you Boots of Speed, a Ruby Crystal and a Control Ward. So what you do here is, it's not the best back. If you've got 1,100 gold, you're probably looking for your Bami Cinder here. So we go back through bottom lane, and our intent here is to do Krugs, right? In a normal game, you'd be doing Krugs here. Krugs and then chickens, right? But sometimes what happens is, junglers who have followed an inefficient clear, as in the enemy jungler, maybe he shows top here for a gank. If he shows top here for a gank, you can either go bottom, right, and kill them, or you can go and start Dragon. Dragon's a risky play, because if bot or mid show, then you might die, and if the jungler isn't topside about to gank here, right, then he could show and you could die. This will probably take you about 30-40 seconds to clear. But if you sweep it on the way past, you know, you can do it and you can cheese it a lot of the time at low elo. But basically, the safest option is to go Krugs and then chickens, and that pretty much gets you your level 5, guys. So you're almost at level 6 already, almost ready to impact the game. So you've just killed your chickens and your Krugs. You're level 5 and you're full HP. You're wondering next, what am I going to do, Cobb? Am I going to go over here, clear my wolves and my Gromp? Well, you could do that, but that's a pretty low value play. Your ideal option here is you get a gank off on bottom, right? So look at your bottom lane, see if that's gankable, assess the champions on each team and say, do I think I'm going to pull this off from where they are sitting in the lane? Is the mid laner gankable? Mid is a brilliant lane because it's right in the centre of the map. If it's gankable, you should always be going for it pretty much because it doesn't waste that much time because it's central. So if they're gankable, go for it. And if you get a kill, you can try and go for Drake here, right? You can even start Drake potentially. But say bot lane's pushed them up here, right? Your bot lane is here. They're under tower. They're low. Say mid laner's pushed under tower here as well. And if they leave, they're going to lose CS, so they're not going to bother. You can actually just maybe drop your control ward here or here. And then start the dragon, right? Pretty risk free. Skarner's good at taking dragons, and if you've got your 1100 gold for your Bami Cinder, then you can batter this dragon pretty scot-free, but you can solo it at level 5. Not quickly without the Bami Cinder, mind you, so don't be risking this if you think it's a crazy play. If you are going to not bother doing the dragon, what I'd recommend doing is ward the river bush here, with your control ward you bought, and just proceed to your top side, right, and clear the rest of this out, because you will be getting the Rift Herald spawning shortly, and you can maybe get a gank top or mid into Rift Herald instead. And the ward here, the reason we do that is helps our laners here from getting jungle ganked, and often it is going to show you if the enemy jungler goes for Drake. If the enemy jungler goes for Drake, guys, and you think you can fight them, go back down. If you're doing your wolves or whatever and you see your enemy jungler walk down here to start Drake, ping the shit out of it so that your laners will rotate to it, and then just walk down yourself, because like I say, it's going to take them 30-40 seconds to clear this. You've got plenty of time to respawn, and a lot of the time they'll drop low and you can get a kill on them, and we're happy with that. Do not make the mistake, guys, if you've swapped to your sweeper, right, as you should always do after your first back, you should swap to sweeper pretty much. You'll only have this control ward for vision, so do not make the mistake of dropping your pink ward here. A lot of people are idiots and they don't check this bush, guys, and this is a highly valuable bush because it tells you if the mid laner's roaming, or if the jungler's ganking, or if the jungler's going to do Drake. If we see the jungler walk down here, we know he's going to either go to Drake, potentially comes for your Krugs, but your bot lane should have a ward here or here, pretty much 90% of the time if they know what they're doing. So we'll have perfectly good jungle tracking, and we're insulated for us moving up here to continue our ganking events. Like we'd said earlier on, guys, if you come up here to finish your clear, right, and nail lane's gankable, that's it. You don't have to do any crazy shenanigans on Skarner early game. If you can't get an E and an auto attack onto somebody, do not even bother it. It's not worth your time, because if you reset here, instead of going to get this gank off, you can go back, get your Bami Cinder, and come back and start your path all over again, and your red buff spawning by this time. So you're pretty much level 6 and ready to impact the game from here, guys. I hope this is making sense, guys, over my mad accent, right? But what I would say to you as well is, you might be asking yourself, but Cobb, I've started red side and I want to gank top first because they have Ignite. Well, that's absolutely fine, mate. What you can do is do the exact same clear, and it's pretty much the exact same clear, it pretty much finishes the exact same time, but you can do it starting blue buff. So you can go blue, Gromp, Now, what do you think we do with wolves here? Do you think we clear it, or do you think we leave it? We clear it. Now, the reason, basically the methodology behind this jungle clear we did here with the red, Krugs, chickens, leave wolves, right? You don't need to do wolves for level 4 if you get crab. Wolves takes a long time. But if you're on this side of the map, you're not going to want to walk back down here to clear your wolves. You're simply not going to want to do it. So what we skip here instead is we skip our chickens. Chickens and wolves are like brothers, I would say. And I'd say Krugs and Gromp are like brothers in a way, in that these are the two highest value camps on each side of the map. These are the two lowest values on each side of the map. Skarner kills chickens very quickly. But if you do chickens, red, crab, I'm pretty sure that doesn't let you hit level 4. So your problem is, then you have to clear Krugs, right? So we're doing this here, we're doing blue, Gromp, wolves, red, Krugs, and then again we finish around 320 and we're ready to contest crab. And again, you're in the exact same spot as you were last time, guys. Do we gank mid? Do we gank top? And if not, you probably go do your chickens and reset. You get a tempo buy-in, you've got about 1,000 gold in your back pocket, get your boots of speed, get your ruby crystal, and your control ward. Unless you can afford your Bammy Cinder, then you get that. Bammy Cinder, then boots every time, guys. Bammy Cinder is the first item you should always be buying, pretty much. Unless you're going to go AD Skarner, but we don't talk about that. Guys, one thing I'm going to quickly cover right here is, so we spoke about blue side, right? The generic red start, clear, going to path top side. Now you might be asking yourself, what if the top laner on the other team is crap and you can't gank them at all? Maybe it's a Camille or a Jax like we spoke about earlier, and you're certain that they're not going to be able to have early aggression. Maybe you've got a Darius top, right, and the Camille's going to get shoved under tower. What I would say to you here, guys, is if you're desperate to gank bot lane, you think bot lane is how you're going to win this game, you can literally just start blue buff, right? So you can go blue, Gromp, wolves, and you're just doing the same you did here. You go wolves, skip chickens, red, Krugs, and then we're here for 320. So it's up to you. If you really want to gank bottom first, then you can do this path instead, right? Get a wee circle with Gromp. And then the same on red side, right? You can start red if you want, if you really want to gank bot first. But if there's any idea in your head that top will be gankable, or if they've got ignites and you think you want to impact that lane because it's massive value to get a kill on somebody who has ignite, and it's horrible if your top laner dies and they have ignite and you want to shield them a little bit, right? So that's the reason why I tend to start bot side and clear for first gank top. The other reason I do it is you want to start on the bot side of the map wherever possible, right? There's an incentive to do so, because when you reset after your first buy here, remember you're on a timer the whole way around here for Drake spawning, so you have an incentive to start here, because when you return to your bot side camps, Drake is up and you want to be here for Drake, and it gives you a lot more flexibility to decide, am I going to clear these camps and then do Drake? You know, or am I going to clear these camps and then go top side again? And you can still get a Drake ward up. You're here to respond in case they do Drake, and if they show here, you're ready to go straight to Drake. So that is why I tend to start bot side in a lot of my games. That is the hyper generic Skarner clear mindset, guys. Get yourself to level 6 ASAP, and the best way you can do it is with a highly efficient jungle clear in the early game. But say for example, guys, you're thinking you're spending a lot of time on this side of the map here. What about your blue buff? If you see an enemy jungler who is likely to invade you, right? I'm talking Udyr, I'm talking Lee Sin, I'm talking Graves, right? What you might want to do, even like an Elise or something like that, to protect yourself from an invade, right? You're going to do what's called a ward trick. So if you're starting red and you're scared of an enemy invade, what you would do is you could drop a ward here, or directly on your blue if you think they might sneak around here, right? At 50 seconds in the game. Now if you do this at 50 seconds and then you start resetting, you can swap to a sweeper and be back here in time to start at about 1:15. This will isolate you from an invade, or if your top laner's nice, you can say to him, top mate, any chance of warding my blue last second? That is what I would advise doing, guys, in an early invade. Or if you're very, very scared and you want to get your buff 100% of the time, what you can do is find out where they start and start on the opposite side to it. So if you know they're going to start red, you've warded it and you've seen them walking about red at 115 or some shit, you can just start your blue buff and then go on this clear down here we were speaking about earlier on. Guys, that's going to cover it for my quick and easy generic clear guide video for Skarner. Do not think that these will work 100% of the time, guys, but in about 85% of my games this is the right clear to do. The typical idea of you start on one side of the map, clear the full side, and then leave up your weak camp. That is what I do in 85% of my games. The side I start on varies. As I say, value starting bot over starting top, unless you have to gank bottom first, right? So value starting bot side highly. And the other thing I'd say to you guys is, speak to your team for the love of God, right? How many times have you done this sort of clear, right? And you've got to your top side, and you've been intending to gank top, right? Because he's got ignite, and he's all in the other top laner and died. What you need to be saying to your laner, right, is my clear will finish around 320, and then I gank top or mid, right? You say that is your game plan. You flat out say that to them at the start of the game. Then normally they'll hit you back going, okay, they understand. Say to them something like, do not all in, wait for me, I'll be there around 320. All of a sudden you're taking the weight off your enemy, your top laner, right? Your top laner doesn't think, I have to 1v1 this guy and win the game, because if I don't carry it, then I'll lose. Oh, I'm in elo hell. He's starting to think, well, it's 2v1 against this other guy because my jungler's got my back. So let them know your plan, let them know you're coming. I'm starting red so I can gank top. And sometimes I even say to them something like, you have ignite, I'm coming top first, so that bot lane knows, oh, he's doing it because for a reason. He doesn't just think we're shit and he has to carry through top or something like that. Speak to them and let them know exactly what you're doing, guys, and it'll pay off for you every time. Sometimes they will still in anyway, but you know, at least you gave them the warning. And if they end, don't worry about it. Hold away for them, get some free XP, reset and go back bottom. Just keep the game rolling, guys, and do not stagnate. When you're a jungler, you have to be moving as fast as possible with everything you do. If you waste too much time, that adds up. 20 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but if you waste 20 seconds in multiple instances in a game, that's levels worth of XP, guys. You need to constantly be clearing a camp, or ganking, or putting vision, or doing something of value. Because if your plays don't have value, guys, you're just going to fall behind. Final point I want to cover, guys. How do you win a game of League of Legends? Honest question. Right, well, you would say it's by blowing up enemy inhib, whatever one it may be, depending on where you blow up, enemy nexus even. But how do you get to that? It's a very complex road, and I always think of myself as like the sheep herder, right, of a team. My team are sheep, and I'm the herder, and I'm trying to lead them down to this nexus here. How do you do it in a concise manner? The easiest way to do it is playing for an objective, right? Playing for Dragon is a late game objective, and playing for, not you Baron, Rift Herald, who would be spawning there at, I think it's 8 minutes. Playing for these objectives is how you win the game, guys. You want to get these and play for these 100% of the time, right? The only time you don't play for it is when you're certain in your mind that you cannot get it, you cannot win the fight at it, etc, etc. And that depends on your lane priority and where the other jungler is on the map. But do you know how often I see people on the other team who don't play for these objectives? I get them for free, right? And then I use them to win the game. It happens so often, guys. And with Skarner, the best thing about him is you've got your Impale, your ultimate ability, right? And when you have that and Flash, you can almost guarantee a kill on any lane. So tell me why you might not want to do Dragon. Maybe the mid laner's going to rotate down here and assist the other jungler in killing you. You say you can beat the other jungler in a 1v1, right? What might happen is it turns into the fucking Royal Rumble for the WWE and the other lanes all come down for the greatest of Royal Rumble. What you do to swing it in your favour is you get a guaranteed gank off on a lane before the objective comes up. So say it's 30 seconds before Dragon spawns. Second Dragon night, we've already got first Dragon because you followed my early game guide. What we want to be doing here is having our ult up, because we know we're going to get it. We're going to use it here for dragon. So we've got our ult 30 seconds before dragon. We're going to sweep this area out here, clear it, because we're setting up for dragon and we're always on time. Now with about 15 seconds to go, we're thinking, can we get a pick on one of these guys with our ult? Mid, I swear to God, I shit you not, about 80% of the time, flash ult mid on most champions will one-shot them. Flash ult mid and you're using your phase rush, you're going to be able to drag them to about fucking here. And if your mid laner is any champion with any sort of burst damage or half a brain or CC or anything, they're almost always going to die. Or if they're not going to die, they're going to burn the flash, burn their ult maybe to escape and live on about 200 HP. They're out of the equation. They're a fucking null factor. And we can go ahead and take our Drake. Or we can do the same thing top and take Herald when that's up as well. This is the kind of thing that's going to snowball the game, guys. And it's not the kill here that's snowballing the game. It's the objectives. If you get 4 Drakes, you win. If you get 2 Rift Heralds and you use those Rift Heralds effectively to take towers down. The second Rift Herald is very important because you can use that to break a full tower here and a tower here quite easily, and that can be used then to obviously steamroll into the enemy base. First Herald is hugely important because you can use it for like 350 gold by breaking plates on a tower early game or by getting first tower gold. Your optimum play with Rift Herald is getting first tower, right? And like we said a couple of moments ago, Skarner is very good at getting a pick with flash ult onto a solo laner. There's almost zero counterplay to it. If there's a tank top, you might be struggling to one-shot them. So the play is normally mid that you'll be wanting to use your flash ult on. But flash ult mid with a herald in your back pocket, a lot of the time that results in a first tower mid, which you can snowball massively to win the game. Guys, that's going to cover it for my early game guide on Skarner. If you've got any questions, fire them away in the comments, message me, I don't care, I'm happy to help at any time. This has just been a bit of ramble, so fuck knows if anybody's still listening here, but if you are still listening, thank you very much. We'll go into a wee bit more detail on some other stuff, and then we'll look to wrap up the guide, guys, because this is fucking going on. So guys, so far you've learned why you should play Skarner, what all his abilities do and when to use them, why Lee Sin is a virgin, and how to complete your early game and your first jungle clear. What we're going to talk about now is Skarner's mid game, how you close a game out and what you should be looking to do as Skarner once you've done your first couple of jungle clears. So basically guys, I'm going to do a wee bit more rambling, but I'm going to try and keep it more concise, because if you're still listening at this point in the video, God bless you. Jesus Christ, listening back to myself talk for 20 minutes about early game clearing and objective focused gameplay must have been mind numbing. So I'm going to teach you a couple of concepts, right? These are basically the mentalities you should have when you play Skarner in the mid game, right? And this is what you're going to focus all of your team fighting around, and this is what's going to lead you to success. But like I said earlier on guys, you don't want to be taught exactly what to do. You do this is what you do, you click ult on this guy. You want to be taught the information, and then you want to use that information with your own brain. I'm sure you're all highly intelligent people, and then you can adapt over the course of the game. You don't want to just get told exactly what to do, that's useless. So what I'm going to talk about here guys is 2 specific mindsets I have when I play Skarner, right? We've been through the early game. Hopefully by this point you've got 2 dragons under your belt and a Rift Herald. You've maybe broken a tower or so. Things are getting a wee bit hairy, people are all over the map, you don't really have any sort of leadership on your team. It's your job now to lead the team and shout at them and say, listen guys, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to end the game as quickly as possible to prevent any sort of comeback from the other team. And how are we going to do that guys? Well, we're going to play around objectives like we've said before. Surely you've got 2 dragons under your belt, or you've got a Rift Herald or 2 kicking about. Well, here's the thing guys, if you've got 2 dragons under your belt, yes we like a Wind Drake, yes during the laning phase we like an early Ocean Drake as well, but these things are not going to win you the game. The method you need to be thinking about is, if I do not get 4 dragons, my dragons are pretty much useless. And you can use this for the enemy team as well. A lot of people are like, God, fight for dragon, fight for dragon, fight for dragon, and it's 20 minutes into the game and there's only been 2 drakes taken. It's going to take 10 minutes for one team to get a soul at this point, guys. And if a game's lasting to 30 minutes, it's going to go long game anyway. So how do we get these objectives, guys? Well, what you need to be doing is playing neutral and utilising your ult as much as possible. In the mid game, your ult's probably on about a 90-second cooldown before you max it, before you get your full ultimate hunter stacks going. You need to constantly be thinking, who do I need to kill here for us to make progress in the game? If the mid laner dies and I've got Herald in my back pocket, that is a free mid tower, guys. Breaking open these towers is how you're going to win the game. Get yourself a Herald down. After you've killed somebody, that's one mid tower down. Potentially, you're getting a spear, a devastating spear from the Rift Herald onto the second tower as well, and you're going to open that map up, guys. Skarner excels like hell once these mid towers drop, guys. Once the second mid tower goes, the map is yours. You can get wards in the enemy jungle, you can see exactly where they're going, you can set up your platforms in the enemy jungle, counter jungle like hell, keep a real stranglehold on them. You'll see one supporter walk up, he'll be like, oh shit, I need to get a ward in the jungle, I need to get a ward in the jungle. You grab them and drag them right into your mid laner or something like that, and you get an easy 2v1. Just keep taking picks like that, guys, and you'll eventually win the game with much ease. When Baron spawns, you want to be looking for that as well. Make sure you're pushing your top and your mid out. Tell your team exactly what you're trying to do here. Wait for a pick and then go for a 4v5 at Baron. As long as the other jungler doesn't outsmite you, you're happy. So prioritise killing that jungler first. By the point Baron has spawned, guys, you might be well ahead already. You've used your ultimate from level 6 onwards, and every 2 minutes you have used that ultimate to snowball your team. They're massively ahead. There's no chance in hell of the enemy team actually winning a team fight. If that's the case, guys, feel free to start Baron. If it's not risky, you're maybe level 14 and your team aren't going to get dropped to half health while doing it. You're going to win a team fight anyway. So force it in, or force a pick onto the enemy team, guys. And when we talk about items, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about when I say getting picks, because Skarner is one of the easiest, most effective pick champions in the game. That is my firm belief. So guys, remember I was speaking earlier on about 2 Skarner playstyles. Right, well here is the first of the 2. The first style I'm going to call Kidnapper.
Come here.
Now, for many years, this has been the way people have played Skarner, right? Run in, grab somebody, and drag them back out again. It's why you've seen a lot of people running Predator in the past. But this style is far more successful now than it has ever been, and there are 2 main reasons for that. The main reason is because Chem Tank is absolutely insane on Skarner right now. Chem Tank plus Deadman's Plate gives you pretty much a free engage on any team that doesn't have a fucking Azir or some shit on it. Janna as well, or Vayne, anything that's going to hugely displace you, right, and completely shut you down. It's pretty annoying, and you pretty much need a flash if you're going to hard engage. But other than that, when you are ahead, guys, this is the way you should be playing the game. It's self-explanatory. Kidnap someone, pop all your move speed buffs, and just run and grab the first squishy you can. Your phase rush will proc immediately once you flash smite, auto ult somebody, or E or Q. It's so easy to proc phase rush, guys. Literally all you do, flash in, ult, you can smite and Q. Once you've ulted, it doesn't matter. You get a huge move speed boost. You drag that person, and let me tell you, you can drag them some fucking distance. It is insane. You can pull them that far away from their team that there is no hope of them surviving, guys. Pick any character that doesn't have a fucking silver bandana, drag them into your team, and it is GG. This style incorporates a fast move speed engage in order to get picks. It doesn't just need to be some kind of one pick thing, you can just use it to engage, start the fight if you're that ahead. But typically the highest value play is this kidnap that I'm talking about. You want to kidnap somebody, drag them back to your team, shank them with a knife, and there you go, GG. But there is multiple ways you can do this, guys. Let's go through them. Way number 1, this might very well be the most effective way to kidnap someone. You have a deep ward in their jungle. They come up to put down their ward, or they come up to sweep your ward. A lot of people do this on their own, guys. They don't, in solo queue especially, grab someone to do it with them. It's so easy, if you've got good vision, to find somebody to pick. You just run up, grab them, pull them into one other member of your team that does any damage at all, and it's pretty much free. Way number 1 is try and grab someone in the jungle, solo, run away with them. Happy days, we get a kill. Another way you can use the kidnap playstyle would be as an engage. So let's put this into your head right now. The top laners are both split pushing, matching each other in lane. There's 4 of you mid from each team, and you're in a kind of Mexican standoff sort of deal mid lane, right? Maybe you're trying to siege a tower. Here's what you do. You see an opening, fucking run for it. Go grab somebody, yank them into your team. They will burst all of their spells on them at once, and they will get deleted, right? Grab anyone that you can delete, and all of a sudden you have a massive advantage. You can take that advantage into going for an objective like Baron, or you can just use it to push and try and siege the tower. Maybe you can use that advantage to go bot and get a tower and get a 3-lane split on at the same time. Very good stuff, guys. Very easy to try and end the game this way. So that's style 1, guys. This is the kidnap style. Effective when you're ahead, and you can still kidnap people when you're behind as well. So you can play this second style that I'm about to talk about as well, and you can focus on that. But if you see a pick that's free, you've got all the information, you know, nobody's going to be there to counter your pick, you can go for it. And this this picking ability can really swing you back into a game. It can give you shutdown gold. It can kill a key player and stall their team out. Maybe you can then go on to win a 5v4 instead of a 5v5, you know, if that one person dies that you just got a pick on. I would typically say kidnap is for when you're ahead, and you know, you want to go on the offensive, but this other style is the defensive style, guys. I'm going to talk about this in a minute. Okay, guys, so the second style I'm going to talk about, the first one was kidnap, this one is Crown Guard. Demacia! Crown Guard. What is that? So if you know a wee bit about the lore, you know Garen is part of the prestigious Crown Guard family. Garen's job and the job of his entire family is to protect the royalty of Demacia, right? So just like Garen's job is to protect the royalty of Demacia, your job as Skarner is sometimes to protect your team, right? You are there to defend your team and put their lives before the lives of the enemy team, right? Because as we've just explained there, right, Skarner is amazing at getting picks and kidnapping people, getting value that way. But one other incredible way to get value, and you tend to do this when you're on the back foot a bit, when you're playing defensive, or when they have champions who are hyper aggressive, like your Katarinas, your Zeds, Kazakhs, people that are going to jump onto you. You don't need to worry because they're going to jump onto you. You don't need to bust your balls running in the back line, flashing, ulting and pulling somebody in. This style is for when you have to play defensive, or when you're behind, or when you're sitting under tower. You need to use your ultimate for a defensive maneuver, okay, right? You need to gain value through defense instead of offense. So the Crown Guard mentality, guys. The Crown Guard mentality is you are the bastion of defense for your team, okay? You are there to ult, E, stun somebody for 3 seconds, maybe even pull them out of the way to disengage them. But typically what we see a lot of the time, guys, is in these siege scenarios where the other team's winning and they're trying to siege your tower, Skarner's sitting under tower, quite unsuspecting, quite the thing, and maybe they'll go for a dive, guys. It happens a lot. Sweaty Yasuo players, sweaty Zeds, sweaty Katarinas will go, oh, I just seen somebody there, somebody walked up into my rage, I'm going to kill them. And they don't fucking think about Skarner, because they're not used to playing against a Skarner, guys. Remember that, Skarner's in the bottom 10 play rates right now. So Skarner's sitting there, like a wee scorpion in the desert, burrowed under the ground, ready for them to fuck up. And what does he do? Snit. Clicks them. They're dead. Katarina jumps in onto your carry. Oh, I'm ready to one-shot them in 3 seconds. All I need is 3 seconds to kill them. Well, you know what, hen? You're not doing fuck all for 3 seconds, because I'm about to ult you under tower and there's no coming back for that. So guys, basically Crown Guard mentality, summarised, is identify the enemy champions on the team, identify the game state. Are you winning? Are you going to get some value pick by kidnapping someone, right? Or are you going to play hyper defensive and use your ult for peel? Now remember, guys, if you've got maybe a Wind Drake, you've got your max stacks at Ultimate Hunter, maybe you've went Sunfire Cape this game instead of Chem Tank because you can be on the defense, right? You might have a fair bit of ability haste on your ultimate. In these scenarios where your ult's on, you've hit your level 2 ult, you've got a good bit of CDR, you can be a wee bit liberal with your ult, okay? And make sure you're constantly telling your team if you have or don't have ult, because a lot of people don't realise that. You don't want to be making fights with Skarner without your ult up, and like I say, it's on a pretty low cooldown in the mid and late game anyway, so you kind of have to try and be playing around this. Maybe if you've not got ult up, try and get pressure somewhere else, draw people up because you don't want to be team fighting because your impact will be minimal, okay? That's exactly why I run the build in the way that I do, guys, because Skarner without his ult is quite mediocre. It's a lot easier to kill him, it's a lot harder for him to make an impact in fights. His ult is his broken centerpiece to his kit, okay? So we play a build which lets us have it as much as possible, and we're going to go on to show you that in a minute, guys. We're going to talk about the build. We've just talked about the playstyles in the mid game, right? What your objectives are, how you stall the game out. What do we do, guys? We take objectives, we play around objectives, we play around getting towers, we kidnap key members of the enemy team when the other team are in position, we spam the fuck out of somebody who looks like they might be out of position to alert your team you're going to be kidnapping them, and you fucking go for it, guys. Or if we're behind and we're defensive, right, we're under tower, we're getting ready for them to fuck up and make a play, and we're ulting the person that has tried to tower dive you, or indeed the person that's going to be doing the most damage in the enemy team, okay? So that is this mid-game summary done, guys. I didn't want to go into too much detail on it because, to be honest with you, once you know how to play Skarner, a lot of these things fall into place. So I've just gave you a wee generic bit of info on what you should be looking for, mainly on Skarner in the mid-game parts of the game. But to be honest, guys, I find the mid-game is more, it's more to do with your experience as a summoner, like a player, right? Summoners don't exist, I shouldn't say that anymore. The mid-game is more to do with your knowledge as a player, right? Less to do with the champion, I think. There's a couple of champion-specific things, and we've covered that in depth. But we're now going to go on to the itemization and the builds that you can run on Skarner. Okay, so sit tight, guys. Thanks for keeping up with us, and I'll see you in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, Cobb here, ready to give you a quick rundown on Skarner items. Now, word of warning firstly here, guys, I'm going to try and do this quickly because I've actually just recorded this and it took me 30 minutes to explain everything. We do things in depth here, guys, and I don't want to just give you 6 items in a box and say this is what you build every game, okay? I want to teach you how to use the items so that you can go ahead and generate your own success, right? Let's let you decide how to build. I'll give you the knowledge of what items do what, and you can make the choices for yourself, folks. The core items of my build stay the same pretty much every game, but there are wee nuances you can tweak depending on the matchup. So let's start it for the top. Jungle item, you're going to want to go Hailblade, 95% of games, okay? The slow and move speed that you gain from smiting somebody is incredible, right? It's so good on Skarner, helps us with our game plan for getting to a target quickly and doing the kidnap mindset, remember that. So we've got Ember Knife, don't take it many games, guys. Particularly good, it's half an ignite, half a exhaust, but nowhere near as strong as either of those summoner spells. Nowhere near as good as Hailblade. Take Hailblade 95% of the time. Control wards here, make sure you're buying a control ward and you've always got one in your pocket, guys. You should always have one of these on the map. The knowledge that gives you is incredible. You should always be utilising these when you can. This is the best mythic for Skarner, guys. Turbo Chem Tank. Now, there are multiple mythic options that Skarner can utilise very well, and there's probably more than this. These are just the ones I've used, but Turbo Chem Tank is incredible. The reason why I think Tank Skarner is so good this season is because of this item. Proccing this item, running in, kidnapping somebody and getting the fuck out of there ASAP is one of the reasons why Skarner's so good right now. Bami Cinder in general is just an incredible item, guys. It increases your clear speed dramatically. It means that tanks can deal damage without any damage investment. That's how Sunfire's so good as well. Skarner's attack speed is a lot of synergy with Sunfire. So basically, guys, these are the two best items you can take as your mythic in your best rushes. You're asking me, Cobb, what's the difference here between Sunfire and Turbo Chem Tank? Sunfire gives you more damage straight up and more ability haste, which we like on Skarner. This is much better when you're trying to use that kidnap mindset, right? You're trying to kidnap people, take them back to your team and one-shot them. Between this, Phase Rush, Deadman's Plate, and all your move speed buffs, people can't stop you. This has made Skarner so much better. It's way better than, I can't remember the name of the old item, but it was crap. The 2600, was it Aegis of Legion, something like that? Was it Aegis Elysium? Can't remember, right, but this is a better version of that. It's that on steroids. You can now get that and your Yabami's Cinder in one item. We love it. It's incredible. Get this 90% of the time. The other 10% of the time is when you're fighting 3 bruisers or tanks or 3 heavy frontline people and they want to engage on your team, right? When you're going Crown Guard, right? Crown Guard mindset, as I'm calling it here. You want to go for Sunfire Aegis, right? Sunfire Aegis does more damage, but the problem is you can be kited with Sunfire Aegis, right? So in those scenarios, go for that. Frostfire Gauntlet is something I've experimented with. It can be very good if you are, again, a Crown Guard, right? And you're fighting people that can be kited, like Garen the Crown Guard, Volibear, and who else can be kited? Some melee cunt, right? Just insert melee cunt here. People that can get kited, you've got a good backline that you need to protect in your Skarner Crown Guard. You get a Frostfire. But it's a very rare pick for me, guys. Barely ever buy it. It's just an interesting one. Trinity Force has fallen a wee bit for me. I used to build it first every game, but that was because Skarner used to have to build it in order to get CDR. Now CDR is crap. You have to stack loads of it to get 40%. A massive investment. It only gives you 10 ability haste now. The item is really good. Spellblade, Sheen effects are so good on Skarner. He's Q spam all the time. He's using it a lot. But what I would say to you guys is if you're building that, you're going to need some tank to follow it up, because Skarner is a juggernaut. He's a very fast juggernaut, but he can still die before he even gets into the fight. And we play around our ultimate, guys, not auto attacks and Q. Those are still effective even without building damage. You don't need to build damage. Why not be a tank who can kidnap people and also, you know, still deal damage at the same time and melt through tanks? Seems like a no-brainer to me. Try this if you want, guys. It can be very fun. Building Skarner AD is very fun and interesting, but if you want the greatest amount of success, I can recommend Turbo Chem Tank 95% of the time, Sunfire Aegis the other times when you're fighting heavy frontliners that are going to dive you and you don't need to engage, okay? Excuse me. Deadman's Plate, incredible item on Skarner. Comboed with Turbo Chem Tank, pretty much makes your engage unavoidable, unless they've got a fucking Janna or a good Azir or something like that. And even then, if you've got Flash, it doesn't matter. You get a free engage. Also allows you to fly around the map 100 miles an hour. You can be from one end of the map to the other if you've got both podiums rapid. Your macro is incredible. Just brilliant item. Highly recommend it. I sometimes even buy this when I'm going more aggressive AD focused builds on Skarner. So typically, guys, if I was to give you a buy the book build, it would be get yourself Turbo Chem Tank, then get yourself Deadman's Plate. 90% of games you're going to need a Bramble Vest, guys. There's so much healing in this game. Typically what I'll do is I'll sit on this Bramble Vest as early as I can. 800 gold for Grievous Wounds is a no-brainer, guys. That'll help you massively, right? So make sure you're sitting on that. There's fringe times when you don't need it. If you think they don't have a lot of healing, maybe they've got a lot of AP casters and things like that, well, let's not bother with that. Let's just go on to the next item. And you can, if they've got some mad comp with all AP, all magic damage, don't worry about your Deadman's Plate, but that item is that good. Anytime the armour is useful, and it gives you loads of health anyway, so it can make you really tanky. This is a fantastic item. Simply put, one of the best Skarner items, probably the best Skarner item that isn't a mythic. So this is your core, guys. You can adjust it if you want, but that is the best core to go for from what I've found. So more tank items here. Gargoyle's Stoneplate, incredible item, so good against burst. The massive shield you get is insane. It gives you dual resistances, which is always good as well. It just makes you a lot tankier. You get a lot of HP, right, with these two items. Typically what I'll do if I'm going full tank is I will follow it up with a stone plate. Fantastic investment. These are the other armor items you can build, guys. If they've got a lot of AD, you might want to look at this as a third item instead of Gargoyle's Stoneplate. Randuin's Omen, huge value, huge value, like I'm the Donald Trump. Huge value. Terrible impression, but I'm trying to get through this quickly, so I'll shut the fuck up now. Randuin's Omen, brilliant into a lot of people that auto attack. The active is really good as well for sticking to people. Rock solid. Incoming damage for attacks is lowered. It's incredible, guys. Great value. If you're taking a lot of damage from auto attackers on the other team, invest in that. The other thing I would say is Frozen Heart. Used to love it so much because of the ability haste and CDR. 20% CDR plus. The old Trinity Force used to get you 40%. That used to be my rush every game. Now it's not so good, folks. You don't get as much HP. You don't get any HP, of course, from it. The ability haste isn't as good. Reducing attack speed is good, and it's still a good item. But randoming zooming over it unless the attack speed reduction is hugely beneficial, right? Thornmail, typically you get rewarded a wee bit for finishing a legendary, right? Because the mythics give you a bonus, like Turbo Chem Tank gives you tenacity and slow resistance, and Sunfire gives you ability haste, which we like. So you do get a wee bit of incentive to finish a Thornmail, guys, but the completed Thornmail, you don't get as much value as you do from these two items here, and even the Stone Plate. So these are your armor items. This is a generic tank item. It could even go here, to be honest with you, as a typical core. These are just for full tank. We don't need to go full tank, but this is your options. If you need magic resist, guys, this is the order that I would build it in typically, right? Mask, fantastic item, right? Absolutely brilliant. You kidnap somebody, you drag them into your team. What are your team about to do to them? Yep, that's it. Your team are going to shoot the shit out of them. All of their damage gets unloaded. Skarner ulting somebody, it's like a massive... it's like a beacon being lit on top of their head. Kill them, attack them, attack them. Everybody yeeting them at the same time. And what does this do? Immobilizing a champion causes them to take 10% increased damage for 4 seconds. Incredible. What could you ask for more? Once you're there, you get rewarded. Once you ult somebody, you're rewarded for it. Your E as well, very easy to proc on multiple people, like I said. It's brilliant, guys. Skarner's got a lot of CC. This gives you really good health and magic resist. So, we love to see it, guys. This is your best MR item, right? Unless Force of Nature. This is incredible on Skarner as well. And it's another reason why Skarner could be played against any team, right? Picture this. There's an enemy team, they've got loads of poke, they've got loads of disengage. Oh, Skarner doesn't want to be a part of that. Without a flash, we can't do anything. Not anymore. Force of Nature. If you're against a team that likes to kite back, poke you a lot, shoot you with stupid abilities from down the back like pussies, get yourself a Force of Nature, guys. This thing will speed you up and give you MR every time you take a hit. So you can actually use this to fight back against them and engage. When this gets max stacked, you just engage. And then there's even less they can do about it because you're even faster and you're even tankier. So Force of Nature over Mask in situations where you need more movement speed, you need to engage and you're getting poked down. Pretty straightforward, guys. These other two are your last two MR items for consideration, in my opinion. And these ones are fringe, right? So don't build these too often, right? Spirit Visage, fantastic item if you have healing, right? There's no healing in Skarner's kit particularly. I don't recommend Conqueror on him either. So unless you've got like an Ocean Drake or you've got a Tanaka on your team, Spirit Visage is not that great. It does increase your shielding, but Skarner's W shield isn't that great. It's on quite a big cooldown. We use it more for the utility and the move speed to engage than we do for like to keep him tankier. I actually think Skarner's moveset is really good. Really, somehow it's stood the test of time as being useful now. The only thing I'd say about his kit is his W is a bit shitty. It's just a low impact ability. It's not great, so we do not revolve our kit around it. But we like all the stats on this item. All the stats are good. The passive is really good, but only if you have some sort of inherent massive healing on your team, you're going to be getting it, like your Tanaka, or you've got a Yumi who wants to camp you. Spirit Visage, sometimes it can be used. Wit's End. This is a damage item basically, guys. It's not really a tank item. We like all the stats on it, apart from the 30 AD, we're not really asked about that. And the passive is good because Skarner, like we know, gets huge attack speed just for being under a spire, or when he procs his E or his ult, he gets that crystal charge, he gets free attack speed, so that's quite good. It synergizes well. The 50 magic resist is quite good as well, and the 40% attack speed, brilliant. Your Q's getting lowered. But guys, I would only build this if you're already pretty tanky. And I wouldn't build this over other damage items if you need it. Particularly buy this if you're in a situation you need more damage and you need more magic resist. Go for Wit's End. You could do a lot worse, alright? Now we've got the damage items, guys. As I've said before, I don't see Skarner as a fighter, right? People have the argument on the Skarner Reddit. Is Skarner a fighter? Is Skarner a tank? I think Skarner's a tank, presumably, right? He's got his E and his ult. That's his two best abilities. His Q is pretty good now. Pretty shit hot, to be honest. But the best thing about Skarner's damage is you don't need to build damage to deal damage. He does it inherently. His kit's brilliant for that. What other tank do you know can build full tank and sit at 1.8 attack speed? Like, it just doesn't happen, guys. But we do have some really good items that have really good synergy with his kit here, so we can use them anyway. First one, Ravenous Hydra. We mentioned this before in the ability rundown. Skarner's Q now applies Ravenous Hydra. And the reason why that's a big deal is because Skarner's Q is on a microscopic cooldown, right? You can absolutely shred through people with a Ravenous Hydra on Skarner's Q. I don't recommend building it early game because, like I say, you need to be tanky first and then you can worry about dealing damage, right? Although you can do a full damage build, but it's a bit cheesy. You have to carry like shit for it to actually be useful. And Skarner's utility is the best thing about him. So give this a shot. Try maybe putting it in 3rd or 4th into a build if you get that far into the game. Maybe you're carrying like hell, maybe you've got loads of kills and loads of gold and you're thinking, fuck it, Cobb, fuck him, I'm going to buy a Ravenous Hydra. But I try to stay away from high damage, attack damage items, because Skarner's Q scales terribly with attack damage, so you're basically only getting the synergy with attack speed to get your attack damage up. And get your overall damage up, I should say. But we like the ability haste, and the Omni Vamp is really good. So there's certain situations where Skarner becomes unkillable in fights because he has this. Bork, very similar item, very similar item. Skarner's Q does max health, Blade of the Ruin King does max health. You get extra damage for hitting someone three times, right, within a certain amount of time, quickly. And you get move speed for doing that as well, so it helps Skarner to stick to people. He shreds through tanks. If they have 2 or 3 giant tanks on their team, this is a hugely valuable item, right? This on its own puts in massive work. You don't need many more damage items. You could literally buy 1 or 2 of these damage items, that's all you need. You can just build full tank past that. Okay, so build this into a lot of tanks on the enemy team. And again, maybe build it 3rd item, 4th item. Once you feel like you're tanky, you can get one of these items, guys. Black Cleaver. Okay, Black Cleaver, I think a common misconception. People think this is a selfish item. People think this is to boost their own damage. No, not really. Black Cleaver is good for damage, but I think to get true value from it, you need to have a team that can take advantage of Black Cleaver's armor shred. So if you don't know what Black Cleaver does, guys, every time you hit somebody, you're taking armor up to a 24% reduction on someone's armor. But I've run the numbers, I've sat in the practice tool practicing on dummies to see how much damage it actually gives you, and it's not giving you a lot of damage on Skarner, guys. It doesn't give you a lot, and that's even against hugely armor stat champions. People have got like 300 armor. It's barely increasing his auto and Q damage. So this is for if you have teammates that are doing well and they're potentially going to carry this game, and you're fighting people that have got a high amount of armor. It's also good against low armor targets as well, but to get value, it's good against high armor people in tanks, right? People that you're going to be in extended fights with, because you need to attack them a lot of times to get the armor dropped fully, and you're not going to be able to do that as much against squishier targets. So guys, if you see teammates on your team that need that have high attack damage and they're fighting tanks and stuff like that, it's a good item to pick up to help the team. The CDR is brilliant, the health is good as well. It's not CDR, it's ability haste now, Cobb. You were just talking about that earlier on. And we're not that arsed about the attack damage, we're more buying this for utility, guys. This is one to help your team out, and it is good in certain situations, but don't believe the hype. A lot of people love this item, I don't think it's that great. Right, talk about boots quickly. Guys, this is the same, you should know this every single game. These are your 3 options for Skarner. It's the 3 options for a lot of champions, to be honest. Merc Treads. Buy this if you see a lot of CC on the enemy team. Straight up, you just have to buy Merc Treads, unless they have a lot of AD. Like if they've got like 3 or 4 auto attack champions, these plated steel toe caps are absolutely incredible. The damage reduction is brilliant. If you don't see a lot of hard CC and they have some AD on the team, go for that. If you see a lot of hard CC, get Merc Treads, because with Skarner we don't like to be kited, we like to move and be free moving. But one thing about move speed, guys, is that you know, you can use it to dodge things. So you might see a Morgana queue and go, oh, I need to get Merc Treads, I need to get Merc Treads, but not really, because you can kind of dodge it, right? You can kind of dodge it, and Morg's not a great matchup for Skarner anyway, but just be aware, guys, take things like that into consideration. You should be able to dodge a lot of skill shots because you've got a massive amount of move speed. And plated steel caps, whenever you can buy them, because they have a huge amount of value against auto attack champs. Boots of Swiftness, I like to try and get these early game, guys. See if I have Bami Cinder and I'm approaching a chem tank already. See if I've got 900 gold but not enough to finish off a normal pair of boots, sometimes I go for these. Now these are good to buy very early game, right? I wouldn't go for them over your Bammy Cinder, but if you've got your Bammy Cinder and you've got an awkward amount of gold where you can't get a good buy in, Boots of Swiftness can help you snowball a game because they help you move even faster. I would also recommend buying these into an Ash or somebody that's got a lot of slowing effects, because slow effects, we hate them. We're Skarner, we like to move quick, we like to run in quick and kidnap people, so we don't want to be slowed down. Things like Ash can be really oppressive against Skarner, so consider these as an option as well, guys. So that's it, guys. We've not gave you a 6-item build. We've got many items here you can go through. These are pretty much every item you could run on Skarner, but typically if I was to give you the perfect build, it would be something like Chem Tank. It'd be Chem Tank, Dead Man's Plate, I'd pick up my Bramble Vest, I'd go Gargoyle Stone Plate, I'd then either finish my Thornmail or I'd get my Abyssal Mask, depending on what I need, right? If I need loads of magic resist and I feel like I'm dying quickly, I'm going Abyssal Mask over Gargoyle Stone Plate. But this is the thing, guys, it's up to you. I've taught you why every item's good. You can decide what order you build it in, but typically speaking, you're going to want to go Turbo Chem Tank and you're going to want to go Dead Man's Plate, okay? Right? That's it for the items, guys. We're going to move on to the runes there, and then we're going to wrap up the guide just with a wee bit of information on when to pick Skarner, what to avoid, counters and stuff like that. So stick with us, guys, we're getting there. Thanks very much. See you in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, Cobb back again. I'm going to run through Skarner's runes now. Now, there's a wee bit of contention in the runes as far as I'm concerned. The community's a wee bit divided on what secondary tree is best. Some people like Conqueror, but guys, this is the greatest rune tree of them all. Phase Rush is broken, right? It's simply so good on Skarner. You've seen me doing things with Skarner before, with Phase Rush. I've put many highlights on. Here's another one. So as you see there, it's incredible, honestly. The stuff you can do with Phase Rush is insane, guys. Absolutely insane. You can escape anything. The amount of times I've lived a fight on 200 HP is insane. Literally all I do is I go in, I bust my combo, and then if I don't like the way things are going, I'm out and they can't stop me. Phase Rush is so easy to proc with Skarner. Auto QE procs it instantly. It's brilliant. You can chase anyone, you can escape anyone. And the main reason you do it, guys, is because when you land your combo and you ult someone when you're doing your kidnap, you're out like a shot. You can drag them so much further because you proc Phase Rush as soon as you ult them, yeah? Then you get a massive move speed boost to run away. People used to run Predator, and I can understand why a wee bit, but it's quite shitty because once you're in there, you're not fast enough to get back out again. With Phase Rush, you're like a bank robber. You're in and you're out before the cops catch you. So that's why we run Phase Rush. No ifs and or buts. This is the greatest rune on Skarner by far. As I say, some people like Conqueror. I don't like Conqueror, and I'll tell you why. It's because if you run Conqueror, your early game's worse. It doesn't give you a big enough payoff, and the purple tree and the red tree are both insane. You want to dip into both of them, guys. So you run Phase Rush. Nimbus Cloak, when you smite you get a move speed boost, when you flash you get a move speed boost, incredible utility. And the other two, we don't need mana flow bans. Skarner gets infinite mana because of his spires. Nullifying Orb could be useful, but Nimbus Cloak is the one, boys, we use that every time. Third tree down, Absolute Focus, never use this one, guys. You can swap between these two in different matchups, and to explain it to you, basically, I would say to you, Celerity when you're going to use Kidnap, and Transcendence when you're going to use Crown Guard, right? This Celerity gives you a huge movement speed boost, right? Because think of the amount of movement speed boost you've got in Skarner's kit. You've got Nimbus Cloak, you've got Phase Rush, you've got Dead Man's Plate, you've got Chem Tank, you know? You've got so much, he's W as well. So the amount of move speed boost you get in this is 7, right? You get 7% more move speed, but you're getting it again and again and again because he's stacking all these move speed buffs, guys. You honestly feel like you're a bloody purple Lamborghini when you've got this on. But what I would say, Transcendence is another useful rune, but It's not as good as Celerity unless you don't need to engage that much, guys, right? If you're not engaging a lot and you're crown guarding it up, protecting the backline, then this is spot on. Because the 10 ability haste is actually really useful. It means you don't need to build a lot of ability haste and you get a better payoff from it. And on champion takedown you get 20% of your CDs refunded. And his E and his W are on quite a long cooldown, right? So we quite like that. It's pretty good. It's really good value. And if Celerity disappeared, we wouldn't be sad about it because we'd still have Transcendence there. So take this when you're crown guarding, take that when you're going for the kidnap. We take water walking in the last tree, gives you move speed on water and mana regen. We don't care about the mana regen, it's just that move speed and it is brilliant. So every single part of this rune tree is amazing, guys. You love every single part of it. Sometimes maybe you take like a green tree and you don't like one of the slots, or inspiration, if you took something you wouldn't like one of the slots. We make use of every single part of this rune tree, like the Indians did with the buffalo, or the Native Americans. What they did with the buffalo, they used every part of it. We use every part of this rune tree. Right, red tree. Red tree is an amazing secondary because we don't really care that much about every part of it, like the purple tree. But Ultimate Hunter is insane, guys. See in a game where you get one Windrake and you've got a decent wee bit of CDR, you've not invested in CDR but you've got a wee bit just that you've picked up naturally, right? Ultimate Hunter honestly drops your ult down to about 50%, 50 CD seconds. 50 seconds CD, let's try that again, Cop, Jesus Christ. Your ultimate is on a tiny cooldown. Skarner's biggest ability, his best part of his kit is his ultimate. If you don't have that ultimate, I don't want to see you going for fights. And if we've got Ultimate Hunter, honestly, you start to snowball the game massively. If you get a couple of stacks of this while you're early game, right, after you've got your ult, you're going to start spamming your ult. Gets to the point where your ult is that low cooldown, it's like I say, like 50 seconds. You can pretty much afford to use it anytime you see an opening. And having that ability is incredible, to just keep snowballing games out. Because anytime you see somebody, you can just select them for death, and it's brilliant. Shout out to Ravenous Hunter and Relentless Hunter. Relentless Hunter's good, folks, but it's not as good as Ultimate Hunter, right? We love to move about the map fast, but not enough to sacrifice how good our ult is. Ravenous Hunter's good as well. If you're going for a full damage build, I try and go for Ravenous Hunter. Because if you're going for damage, that tells me that you don't value Skarner's ult in this matchup as much as you value his auto attack speed and his Q and his ability to melt people. So we're going Ravenous Hunter if we're investing in full damage or a lot of damage, right? We're going for that. The only other two things I would swap in this would be Zombie Ward is hugely useful, right? But if you're lower elo than Platinum 4, I don't even bother with Zombie Ward because people don't ward enough. I'll be sitting with Sweeper, I'll run through like 5 bushes that should all be warded and not one of them will be warded. So don't bother with it until you hit Plat, or if you're higher. If you are at those elos, honestly the value you get from Zombie Ward is insane. It gives you adaptive power as well, which we don't really care about that much, but it's nice to just add on top of it. Sometimes you'll run through sets of bushes and you'll see there's a ward, there's a ward, there's a ward, and you love it because you're just getting free wards. It's fantastic, guys. Love, love, love Zombie Ward. The other ability that we take, the other rune, is a Cheap Shot. Now, I'll sometimes take Cheap Shot in a Crown Guard matchup where I see a lot of fighting happening. The damage boost is good because Skarner doesn't have a lot of damage in his kit, and it's actually good early game as well because, like I say, he's not got a lot of damage, so that little extra bit will be good. But we don't care that much because we can't proc it that much. You'll maybe proc it once or twice in a fight. It's not going to make the difference, guys. Go for this if you can, otherwise go for Cheap Shot. We definitely don't change this, right? You could maybe swap the Adaptive Force out, but this is for jungling, guys. We use this for jungling. The attack speed, brilliant. Skarner's attack speed through the roof. Speeds up your clear, Adaptive Force and armor. Or you could go Magic Resist if you think you're in a hard matchup where, you know, there's a lot of magic users. We're going to make a new rune page, guys, just to talk about alterations you could make. So some people quite like Conqueror. I'm not a fan of it. It's the fighter Skarner players that like Conqueror. I don't think that's a good way to play him. I think, unless you're playing him top, maybe Conqueror might be good. Gives you a bit of sustain in that, but they've nerfed it this season as well because every man and his dog was running this last season. Now Phase Rush just outweighs it every time. And people used to run Predator as well. I've said to you already, guys, Predator is so that you can turbo into a fight, but Predator's not really in a good spot at the minute. And also, as I say, once you have turboed into that fight, you can't pull them back again. And Skarner's got other tools now, like Chem Tank, to turbo into a fight, so he doesn't need Predator anymore, guys. Don't even consider it. Conqueror's nice. If you're going full damage, it is nice, but it's riskier and it's harder to play. Phase Rush means that you can't be punished. I feel like I've got an Echo ult with Phase Rush, because almost anybody that hits you, like, did you see that clip earlier on with the Darius? He pulls me in, he flashes to pull me in, and you literally, all you do, guys, if you're in a sticky situation, E them, auto them, Q and run. Honestly, they're stunned for a second, over a second, and you get a massive move speed boost. Not many people can close that gap. Honestly, if you're in a sticky situation, just save your E and you'll get out scot-free every single time. Conqueror, as I say, it's good for the healing. The extra damage is minimal. I do like the precision. Yeah, that's what it's called. Precision tree. Triumph's nice, and we like the alacrity or tenacity in certain matchups. But it's not as good as Phase Rush, guys, so don't bother with it, honestly. And I have tried running this as a second tree, right? I've tried running the yellow tree precision. Is this crashed again? You're shitting me. Right, this has crashed on me again, guys, and it crashed on me earlier on. It's done it twice now. It's absolutely humped. There's not a lot more to talk about. Phase Rush and Red Tree are amazing. Right, I'll be back in a second, guys. This is doing my tits in. So guys, I've just had the Task Manager League for the second time recording this because Riot Games don't want to sort their shit out. So guys, what I was saying there, basically, this is the #1 rune page. I've tested other ones. I don't think you can get any better than this. Ultimate Hunter is the best sub rune that you can have in the game. If this is a main, I think we call it a keystone. This is the best sub rune out of all of them. It's so valuable, and that is why in the secondary tree you're going to want to take red 95% of the time. I love my percentages, don't I? I think it just sums everything up perfectly. So this is, a lot of people sometimes go for the inspiration tree, right? And I'll tell you why this is shit, right? People will go magical footwear, and if you've seen that Pro Guides video that I did where I was ripping the piss at a Pro Guides shitty build for Skarner, this is what they take in the second tree, and these were people that were advocating for fucking Predator 3 months ago, right? So they clearly have no clue what they're doing. I'll tell you why magical footwear's shit. Yes, we like move speed on Skarner, but if you can't get fucking boots till 10-12 minutes into the game, what is the point? If you can't do anything for 10 minutes, do you think how many champions in the game can do nothing for 10 minutes and win? Like, I can think of maybe 2, old Shyvana and like Karthus, but even them, they're going for ganks and stuff. Do you think a Skarner running at you with 0 shoes on is going to do anything? It's not. You're not fast enough to close that gap, guys, and you can't afford to wait that late into the game for something that closes the gap. We're not Kazakhs. We can't jump a bloody 100 miles like we're doing the bloody long jump at the Olympics, right? We can't do that, so we do not like this. What else could we have went for here? There's nothing. There's nothing good. You could maybe run Hex Flash. That would maybe be interesting, but it seems pretty int to me, guys. And it's not worth swapping Ultimate Hunter out. Cosmic Insights is even better than Approach Velocity. The move speed it gives you is negligible. It's absolutely negligible. Cosmic Insight is just much more valuable overall as a summoner spell. It's not like we're bloody Olaf where we're dishing the slows out all the time, every 2 seconds. This is useless compared to that. And Pro Guides disagreed, you know, but they're the same guys that were putting out Predator first. Same Predator was a good rune for Skarner, so just goes to show you they're nothing but a whiskey delta. These are other runes I like, guys. So I love Unflinching. I love Unflinching because it gives you a really good amount of tenacity. And tenacity is a great stat on Skarner, but unfortunately there's nothing here that's as good, that's that good. Shield Bash could be useful, and Demolish would maybe have its time. You could also get Conditioning for a bit of added value. So these are things you can play about with, guys, but honestly, since I've started using Ultimate Hunter and Zombie Poro, I can't change back now. I can't. The fact you can spam your ult like hell, and then when you get the second level into it, it's honestly on such a small cooldown. You'll see what I mean. Just give this a shot, guys, and you'll love it. We stack this so quickly as a jungler because we're getting kills and assists all over the place. Try it and you will love it, guys. That's the runes concluded. We're going to put a cap on that there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a new day for me. We're here with the final part of the Skarner guide here. What we're going to talk about in this is some of Skarner's matchups and when you should be picking Skarner, right? Because, you know, when I first started playing Skarner last season, I didn't pick him first at all. Even though I found him to be one of my strongest champions, I would never have the balls to pick him in first. And I've got something to tell you guys, you can do that. Skarner is that good at the minute that I blind picked him, because like I said, I one-tricked him for it's been about 2 weeks now, because I've been filming this for, I don't know if you can tell, about 2 or 3 weeks, this guide, making it for a long time now. So I've been playing Skarner non-stop for about 3 weeks, and because of that, I have actually found that you don't really get hard countered to Skarner. There's a couple of champions that hard counter him, and I would suggest if they show up, don't play them. But they're few and far between, and at the minute, not many people play those champions, guys, so you're actually pretty safe to just first pick him. He gets soft countered by certain people, but in these matchups, you're quite happy regardless. There's just wee things about it, nuances, and they can make your job a lot harder if they play it properly. So we're going to talk about that, guys. Firstly, when Skarner? When would you pick Skarner? Any game, guys. And one thing I'll tell you as well is, I've touched on this before, but because Skarner is a tank, right, and he's engaged, a lot of people don't like to play these champions. And I find a lot of the time in your solo queue games, you're going to find people who are playing these mad glass cannons that Skarner counters, right, and not picking tanks, which means that you can go ahead and pick a tank and you're actively helping the team by locking that in, guys. So a lot of the time Skarner is a great person to add to a team. He's a tank, he's engaged, you can carry with him, you know what you're doing now, you've watched the rest of the video. So go ahead and play him every game if you want to, guys, and I'd recommend that. Once you've hit your 5 to 10 games on a draft, go ahead and spam him every ranked game if you want, guys, and you won't struggle. So going on, guys, we're going to talk about Skarner's counters, and the good thing is, in the jungle he doesn't have many. Sit tight. So guys, one thing I failed to mention, right, Skarner doesn't get fully countered anymore, apart from if you're playing in some sort of organised play, right. Now the reason I say that is because Skarner can get countered by a kite comp. Now a kite comp, if you don't know it, is a compilation of champions, right, a 5-man stack that their basic game plan is they don't want to hard engage a fight. They want to sit back, poke you, push you back, stop you from engaging on them, and they just win through that. You end up losing HP, spending time laning against them because they've got sustain, they've got poke, and they've got disengage, and these are things Skarner doesn't want to fight, right? It's not unwinnable, like I say, because now you can build Chem Tank and Phase Rush to run in there, really get in there, and do the dirty deed and kidnap them before they can fuck you up too much. But see, if you're fighting a bunch of kite-based champions on another team, it's not likely to happen in solo queue. But if you are playing and trying to take Skarner into competitive play, then watch these matchups and watch picking Skarner super early into a draft, because they might just say fuck you Skarner, you're going to have a shit day, and they might just, you know, draft a kite comp around you. So that's one thing I wanted to note as well. Okay guys, so talking about Skarner's jungle matchups here. Now there's a lot of champions that you might think counter Skarner, but they don't actually, because one, maybe he outscales them. If they invade him, then, you know, he can just hit them with a phase rush, stun, run away, call for help, get wards down. There's lots of things you can do to mitigate these harder matchups, guys. But there's only a couple of actual champs that I've found give Skarner a bit of a rough time, and are things that you'd maybe not want to play him into. So the first one is going to be Lilia. Now, Lilia, guys, she's actually quite difficult to play, right? And a lot of people, especially if you're low elo, can't play her very well. I'm not even high elo myself, so I'm like upper plat. And I've only really encountered 1 or 2 Lilias that have actually made my job hard. If she's ahead and she's doing well, she melts you, she does magic damage, she can kite you because she's faster when she's got all her stacks up. But here's the thing, guys, here's one thing that makes her actually a softer counter in the jungle. If you land an E on her, you slow her, you ult her, she's very squishy, she dies easy. If you land an E ult on her, she dies. So one mistake from her and she's gonzo, guys. So it's not actually the worst matchup, but if Alilia's playing perfect, they're prancing and dancing about, they're a pain in the arse for Skarner, because they can just kite him for days. But one false move and one wrong move, and she's on her arse, guys, so don't worry too much about her. Now the next one is actually listed as Skarner's #1 counter, if you look up on league counters, Nunu. So Nunu is actually ridiculously strong at the minute. He's been very strong for quite a while now. The tail end of Season 10 he's been running amok. And I'll tell you why he counters Skarner. Pretty much early game, right, Nunu spikes early game, right, and then he kind of has a flat power curve for the rest of the game. Nunu can be really good because he can kite Skarner, right? He's a tank, so you're really not wanting to ult him. If you don't one-shot him, then he just Qs and gains all his health back, so you're missing an ultable target if you're fighting into Nunu. Past that as well, you know, he's got, on his E, he's got a root and a slow, so he can kind of kite you about, slow you, run away. You're not going to kill a Nunu, and he can also pressure objectives better than you early, which is one of the main reasons. I'm a big advocate for, unless you're, like I say, high elo, a lot of people don't even go for the first dragon, and they're not there for it spawning, so you get a massive advantage by going for that. But Nunu players like to do that, and I'll start a Drake if I'm certain it's not warded around the area, I've got priority in my lanes, I'll go for it, because Skarner with a Bami Cinder can 1v1 Drake at level 5, piss easy. But what a Nunu can do, and what the problem is with this, is Nunu outsmites you every time, right? So like early game, his Q's going to be doing like 600 damage or some shit, so that plus a smite, he gets a free Drake off you guys if you start it. So that's the reason why Nunu sort of counters you. You quite enjoy fighting a Nunu late game, to be honest, because you're fast enough to the point where he can't peel you so well, and yeah, he doesn't really measure up against your late game. You scale harder than him as well, so you're happy as long as he doesn't run amok in the early game, and you've got competent laners who don't get ganked into the ground by him. You're actually alright. It's just because he spikes early game a lot faster than you do. Before you get your 6, he can put a lot of work in and make your games harder, and if he's invading you and shit and your laners are crap, then you might struggle a wee bit. But don't worry about him too much. Again, he's not even that bad. It's like, I think he's got like a 56% win rate against Skarner, but at the minute I think he's got like a 53% win rate overall, and it was spiked at 56 or 54 at the start of the season, something like that. So he's actually just a really strong champ, guys, and that's part of the reason why he counters Skarner. But it's not as bad as certain websites would make you believe. And then the last one, and this is actually one of the only horrendous matchups for Skarner. It's absolutely dog shite. I don't know if I'd say dodge it, because every game is winnable, every matchup for Skarner is winnable now, and there's ways to play around it, but this champion will make your life a living hell, and that is Olaf, the big silly Viking motherfucker. So he's bad, guys, because if you don't know, you should know this, but Olaf's ult means he's immune to CC. Now, one reason why Skarner doesn't get hard countered by many champions is because he has a lot of CC. With Phase Rush, you've got a lot of manoeuvrability, you're very, very safe. So even in his worst matchups, guys, he just CCs them and runs away. But Olaf, the problem is he can't CC him. Olaf can chase you down the Q. He keeps lobbing axes at you, keeps slowing you. He can disengage for his team with the axes. He can shred through you, even if you're building tank. If you build full damage, he's going to out-damage you and win trades anyway. And like I say, you can't CC him. So Olaf is a massive pain in the tits, guys. Don't dodge it, but if you see an Olaf, don't go picking Skarner. Thankfully, he's not that popular at the minute. If Olaf becomes a meta threat again, he's one of these champions that one wee change and he can be back in the meta. If he becomes a meta threat again, guys, Skarner's stock is going to plummet. But at the minute, he's not played at all. At least I don't see him in games. Although Skarner gets played even less with him, so I don't know what to say about that. But guys, Olaf is a shit matchup. Nunu is not a great matchup. Lilia can be a shit matchup, but typically speaking, you'll be alright, I think. So that's Skarner's jungle counters, guys. Now we're going to move on to some of the more generic counters for Skarner, because it's not just about your jungle opponent, it's about who you're fighting overall throughout the full team. So guys, talking about Skarner's hard counters, right, now these champions are going to give you a shit time, and one of the two of them I would ban every game, right? Now we're going to talk about Shauna Vane firstly. Shauna Vane is an absolute bint to fight. I ban her every game. I used to ban Seraphine every game for the meme, but now I've had that many games against Vanes and I just fucking hate Everybody plays Vayne, loads of people play Vayne even if she's not that good, because she can just hard carry a game. Now, Vayne is my bane in my existence. I play a lot of Juggernauts and I play a lot of tankier champs. I hate champions that I can't stat check. You can't stat check a Vayne, because Vayne's going to melt you for true damage. And it's awful fighting Skarner. Skarner can't 1v1 her. Maybe you could 1v1 her actually, I have to say. Because you can land it, if you get a CC, she's over, but if she's got a support network around her, you're not getting on her. She's got that shove, and then even after the fact of the shove, other teammates are going to be CCing you and keep her off her. Meanwhile, she's going to be melting you in seconds. So Vayne is a terrible matchup, guys. She's got disengaged, she's got tank shred, she's awful to fight. Now, the other hard counter I'm going to say is Cassiopeia. Now, I don't ban Cassiopeia, I ban Vayne, because I think Vayne's more oppressive and there's a lot less counterplay to Vayne. Cassiopeia is a pain in the arse for Juggernauts, right? Because if you don't have a flash, it's over. You're not getting onto her, and she's going to shred the shit out of you. She does a lot of damage. She just keeps kiting back. Her damage is crazy. I think she's an insane champion, honestly. Just broken by concept again. She just does so much damage. She's got a lot of manoeuvrability herself, because she gets move speed boost every time she hits a Q, I think it is. I don't think she gets it off her E. But some people run phase rush on her as well, and she's just slippery as fuck. Does so much damage, shreds through you, and you're not going to get onto her because she's got W and ult. If you get past her W, you're going to be slowed like hell. You can't move. You can't like flash while you're on it because you're grounded, and she can ult you. So she's just a terrible matchup, guys. Stay clear. Stay absolutely fucking clear. But to be honest, guys, the amount of champions in League of Legends, I think we've got like over 150 or some shit now. To have only 2 hard counters, and obviously Olaf as well as another hard counter in the jungler department, to only have that amount of hard counters is pretty good. It's pretty good, to be honest. Now, we've got some more here. Right guys, so we're going to talk about some of the mid-tier counters for Skarner now. So we've got champions. Firstly, we've got Karma. Now, a lot of these champions are actually support, so if you see them in a lane, you might actually focus them so you can put them down a wee bit. Karma. So why is she a Skarner counter? The reason why, guys, is because she can provide AoE move speed buffs for the team. She can also slow and crowd control Skarner. So she basically, it's a weird one because she sits very close to you, but she's constantly out of your reach. So it's a bit strange, guys. She slows you. She puts that little lead onto you like you're a bloody dog, and after a couple of seconds you end up getting rooted. It's a massive pain in the arse. She can slow you, she can buff her teammates to get them out of harm's way. Massive pain in the arse champion, guys. Try not to play Skarner into her if you can, but if you do, you've got a flash so you can kill her if she's really a pain in the arse and you think she's worth it. Past that, we've got Shen. Now, Shen is a massive pain in the arse, and I'll tell you why. None of these champions, firstly, because I'm saying they're mid-tier counters, right? They're not the worst thing in the world. If you fight them, it's kind of okay. But firstly, Shen is a massive pain in the ass because basically the main reason why is because of his W. Now, Shen's W, if you don't know what it does, puts up a little force field on the ground, and if you auto inside that shield, then it does nothing. So the worst thing about that is when you put Crystal Venom on somebody with your E, you can't proc it while you're in that shield. So it's just a massive pain in the arse, guys, really. And the other problem is, because of Shen's ult, a good Shen player can be a pain for you. If you get a catch on somebody mid, if you flash out someone, and we know it's pretty much instant death on anyone you flash out mid, right? One of our best playmaking abilities. Shen just mitigates that, because he'll ult them, and then if you can't kill them through that shield or cancel the Shen TP, then that's your play doing the Swanee, and it's up to the top laner to take advantage of that and try and get some plate gold, make it worth his while. But if he's the kind of champion that can't do that, or maybe your top laner ain't all that great, then you're in a position where they've maybe killed you because you've used your full combo and you're all of a sudden 2v2 instead of 1v2 when it would have been a free kill. So Shen, pain in the arse, guys, stay away from it. But again, mid-tier counters, guys, don't worry too much about these either. Thresh. Now, Thresh is a kind of skill related matchup. You can actually bait out a lot of his moves, and because you've got such massive move speed, like his hook, if you're right on top of him, he's going to land it, right? But if the Thresh goes for it too early, then you can just sidestep it like it's nothing. You should be able to dodge 100% of hooks, guys, from far away. You've got that much move speed, it's not a problem. But the other problems you've got against Thresh, not Shen, we've talked about him already. Problem with Thresh is he's got lanterns, so he can save other people that are out in harm's way. It's got Flay, so he can fling you back further and slow you. bit of a pain in the arse when you're trying to engage. And he's also got the box. The box can be quite a pain in the arse, but just like his Q, you can bait the box out. If you go for an engage, maybe you don't burst all your move speed items at once, go for the engage, and then he flings the box out, you cancel it, and you turn around, you about turn, and then you just take it and you laugh, you've just procced his ult for free. So there's wee skill elements of it, but Thresh is a bit annoying. The last one, massive pain in the arse, guys. We're talking about Zilean here. Now, Zilean can slow you to a fucking snail's pace, and while he's done that, he can stun you as well. He's also got ult, so he can res somebody. If you ult somebody, and Zilean ults them back, and this team fight's going on around them, sometimes you'll win it because that significant carry that's been resurrected, it's taking some time for them to come back into the fight, but a lot of the time, guys, you can ult somebody and Zilean's just going to ult them back. Your ult's on about the same CD as Zilean's ult late game, so you trade 1 for 1. Sometimes it doesn't matter when you can carry anyway. One way around this might be to ult Zilean, guys. So if you ult Zilean and he doesn't ult immediately, maybe his reactions are slow, maybe you're just faster than him, then it doesn't matter too much because Zilean can't cast it while he's suppressed. So think about that, guys. There's a lot of nuances to fighting him, but Zilean is a pain in the arse for Skarner, 100%. So guys, finally we're going to talk about soft counters for Skarner right now. These champions, they're annoying, but they're not so bad as the mid counters, and they're not as dodge worthy as the high counters, right? So firstly we're going to talk about Ashe. Now you can probably expect why we're going to say Ashe is a hard counter, or a soft counter even. Ashe's slows are a pain in the tits. A lot of the time when I see an Ashe on the team, it indicates that you might want to be getting boots of swiftness to try and dodge some of the slowing, because she's going to be applying it all the time. You're going to be slowed constantly in fights, and we're Skarner, we like to be fast. We're easily kited. If you've got a bit of peel on the team and an Ashe with some poke, you can have a bad time, guys. It's a pain in the arse. So consider getting boots of swiftness. It's like you're paying her respect, similar to Skarner and the bandana, but you know, sometimes you have to pay that respect to the Ashe, and unlike her with the bandana, the swiftness boots are actually cheaper than your normal boots, so you're just going to sacrifice a bit of tankiness, gain a wee bit of extra move speed, and be a wee bit more resistant to slows. So definitely worth considering that, guys. We're going to talk about Azir as well. Now Azir's a champion that doesn't want to engage on you, right? Azir's poking you up for the back lines with his sand soldiers, so immediately that's an unfortunate thing. But a lot of these champions, you're quite happy to see things like a Vel'Koz, maybe something like a Veigar's are more annoying with the cage, but generally speaking, control mages we're quite happy to see, guys, because Skarner, engage, ult, bang boom bang, they'll bleed instantly, they're squishy as hell. If you catch them with their pants down, they're going to get a fisting. Azir, the only unfortunate thing about that is he can slow you, and he can also use his bloody great wall of sand soldiers to sweep you back, and it's how he gives you the backhand with that. That massive pain in the arse, guys. But again, it's kind of like similar to Thresh in the box. You can bait that out and then just about turn afterwards, but sometimes your team will all in anyway after he's used the wall. I don't know the wall's cooldown off the top of my head, but it's definitely longer than your ult late game anyway, so just get it in, bait it, and get back out, and then maybe 10-15 seconds later back in again when he's got no great wall up. Azir's a pain in the arse, but it's a skill related thing, guys. You can play around it. Last one we're going to talk about is Janna. Now Janna you'd think would be more of a pain in the arse, but one of the reasons that she's not so bad is because you can actually dodge the tornadoes, right? Unless you're in the jungle, you don't want to be chasing a Janna through the jungle because you're not going to catch her unless you've got flash up, and you can flash over tornadoes as well. So unless the Janna is perfect, and a lot of the guys you're going to be fighting playing Janna are not perfect, so unless the Janna's playing perfect, using the tornadoes at the exact right time, you can dodge them. So don't worry too much about Janna. She's got some slows, that's a pain in the arse too, and her ultimate's a pain in the arse too because it's going to shove you right back. But as long as she uses it on your initial engage, you're quite happy with it. And a lot of the time, right, if you flash in, she's going to fucking ult you back, so you get extra movement. If you can do it exactly, if you've got flash, it actually doesn't matter. If Janna's like a non-factor, because all of her like ranges are kind of mid-range, and if you're in range to be ulted back by Janna, then you're in range to flash out somebody. So buffer that ult, boys. Just like I said, click R on somebody, flash them, and then immediately pull them back into the team. Maybe Janna's going to help you by pushing you back with the bloody monsoon. Right, guys, so that's going to cover the counters and some of the wee problems you might have thinking about picking Skarner and what he provides to a team. We know what he provides to a team. He provides hard CC, engage, tank, shred. He's a tank himself as well. Different builds you can do, so Skarner's very versatile. He fits into any team very easily because CC is hugely valuable, and if you start layering that CC on, there's nobody that can stop you if you get it off, guys. So that's going to be the end of the video. We've covered everything off, guys. You know how to play the early game, you know what Skarner's abilities do, you know what you're going to be doing in the mid game to try and close out the game, you know some of Skarner's weaknesses. Doesn't have many at the minute, thankfully. It's brilliant. You know his strengths. So guys, I'm quite confident here that I've gave you all the tools to go out and get some fucking free elo. Because trust me, I'm not just saying this to clickbait people in. Skarner is very, very good at the minute. He's very strong, and I truly believe that you could go out there after your 5-10 games where you might int on Skarner, you might not be used to him, you might be struggling trying to get some of the kidnap, crown guard mindset under your belt. You might not know how to clear efficiently and stuff like that, but we'll be coming out with more videos in future, guys, if you want them. Hit me up, DM me, put a message in the comments if you want, ask me for any help. I'm on the Skarner subreddit quite a lot. My name's McTrukter on there, and that used to be my name on YouTube. And if you've got to this point in the video, guys, thank you very much. I'm going to see you later on, hopefully. Cheery bye. Yeah, this video is dedicated to all the Lee Sin mains who told me I'd never amount to nothing. To all the hard-stuck D4s who looked at my games played and said I'd never make it out of gold, when I was trying to show the world that I was a good jungler. And all the Skarner mains in the struggle. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, Skarner. It was all a meme. I used to watch Trek 2G. Triforce Russian and Cinderhulk was looking good to me. Playing Wukong every game. But then Stamiras attacked and my win rates were looking mad lame. I let my champs rock till my rates dropped. Smoking grave cigars every night and that brew was popped. Way back when I bought the red and black alpha skin with the rates to win. Do you remember when I was stuck gold? You never thought I'd make it out and break the mold. Now I'm in the limelight cause a team fight. Time to get paid, kill your mid with my tail blade. A born Skarner, the opposite of a winner. Remember when I used to play League after dinner? Used to Liam Rattlers, GZ Lee, Moz and Keyrin plus your boy Link C. I'm blowing up like they thought I would. Check under my hood, good number, same dude. It's all good. And if you don't know how to play Skarner, I know this game very well and who to play. Don't let the meta hold you down. Reach for the stars. You had a goal to get high elo. Cause I'm the only one who knows how to play Skarner. Ooh yeah. Right guys, cheers for that. Sorry if I hurt your ears too much. Thanks for watching very much. Like, comment, subscribe, call me an arsehole in the comments, do what you want. Thank you, goodbye, bye.